Hey team, so I just wanted to give you a 101 on the best practices of communication. So when I'm talking about communication for this session, I'm talking about texting, emailing, and calling. Okay, so just kind of a this or that in general. Any good news or bad news, honestly, phone call is always the best practice for anybody, even if they prefer text. So I want to talk to you about first about what we do on phone calls. Not necessarily scripts, but when we use phone calls. So you always want to call a client whenever you're delivering bad news. You never, ever, ever, and I can't stress enough, never deliver bad news through email or through text. If it's bad news and they prefer text them and tell them to call you. Do not deliver bad news over text ever. One, because you got to explain the situation, and two, it's a personal touch. It's a sad subject for whatever the reason may be, and you don't want to deliver that through the phone. So if they didn't get the offer, the inspections came back negatively, whatever the case may be, do not deliver that message through text. No matter how much you might know the client or how much a best friend or family member they might be, do not deliver it through text. Okay, so that's a phone call. You also want to do a phone call when you are explaining a contract. And there's several reasons for that. One, you never want to talk about a contract over text. You're not sure if they're understanding your text message. You want to make sure that they're not going to ask your questions, the questions that they have through text message as they would over the phone. You can tell from the tonality and everything else if they're really understanding it. So never go over contract through the text messaging or emailing at that rate. And then secondly or thirdly, with a phone call, that's really your time to connect, ask for referrals. Even when good things happen, I would do them through phone call. Best practice always is through phone call. It's quicker. You can leave a voicemail. You can explain, get the questions out of the way, and it just takes way less time to do that than have a texting conversation. Okay, so now let's switch our focus to text messaging and emailing. With text messaging and emailing, the only reason you're really going to text is to say, hey, give me a call, blah, 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 blah. You can send an itinerary through text message, anything that isn't a guarantee. You never want to say, oh, yeah, it's septic or something like that if you can't guarantee it's septic, because that is in writing. So what you need to remember is that text message and emailing is in writing. So if you say it, you put it in writing, it is what it is. So you can't take that back. So please, please, please do not put anything in text message unless you can back it up and it's proof and it's a fact. And even at that rate, really just keep text messages for light conversations. See you there. I'm almost there. I'm running late. Give me a call. That kind of stuff. You really don't want to use text message for much else in itineraries. Okay. And the last thing that I want to say is, if you're using text message or email, make sure, especially if you have a team or if you're on our team, you're being very clear about who you are. I don't want an assistant to say something that then you're a reflection of everybody on the team. So make sure you're being very clear about who you are, what company you are with, what your job title is, at least in the initial text, or if you're an admin and you're working with a team lead or a team, always say, this is Mary, this is Shelby, this is Doug. But you want to have that initial conversation about who you are and what you're doing, just as the reason why we have it as signature and an email. So make sure that you're clarifying that and disclosing that as well. Okay, so any more questions about texting versus calling, let me know and I'd be happy to answer your questions.